Man from Nebraska, he's behind bars here in Florida because police say he drove 1,500 miles to kidnap two teenage sisters. Where did he meet them? He met them on Roblox. Adrian Kriskout spoke with the sheriff about the disturbing details of the crime.
Good afternoon. This 19-year-old man drove more than 1,500 miles all the way from Omaha, Nebraska, down to Indiantown, where he allegedly took two young sisters, 15 and 12 years old, who he was communicating with through the online gaming platform Roblox. Two sisters from Indiantown are safe and back home after their parents reported them missing last Saturday around 8 p.m. Information provided by family members was vital to investigators, and police later discovered the girls had been communicating since last year through the gaming platform Roblox and later through Snapchat with an adult.
We've not seen anything explicit necessarily, but we know our suspect was repeatedly warning these young girls that he could get in a lot of trouble for what he was fixing to do. So he knew he was violating the law.
Authorities were able to identify the suspect as 19-year-old Sermu Lasey and discovered he had driven for 22 straight hours on Friday from Nebraska to Indiantown, where he picked up the minors. Surveillance video were key in identifying the vehicle they were traveling in.
We were able to contact the Florida Highway Patrol, the Georgia State Police, and thankfully, the Georgia State Police was able to pull this vehicle over, take our suspect into custody, and rescue our two girls.
Man, these stories get crazier and crazier every day. 19-year-old, man drove 22 hours, down to Florida, and they're saying, kidnapped two sisters, met them on Roblox, and that's one of the dangers of. It's sad to say that's one of the dangers of, allowing your kids on these type of games where, they can talk to any and everybody because they could be put into the same, lobbies with anybody. There's like, there's no age restrictions on what lobbies that, you can be placed in. You can be placed in there with anybody. So, you've been communicating with them for over a year, moved the conversation over to Snapchat, to where I'm sure, he got all the information as far as, how he could come meet them and stuff like that. And the thing is, he was aware of what he was doing, was against the law. 22 hours to, get locked up and, now you're facing kidnapping charges. So, you got to be careful, man. As far as parents, got to be careful with, what platforms you allow your kid on and the kind of communication they have with people in the outside world. Just never know who they'll be talking to or what type of danger, they can find themselves in, And, of course, we're only going to hear, this side of the story as far as what happened and things like that. We don't know all the context of the conversations that was going on, but this guy should have known better. He definitely should have known better, and, not just trying to throw this back on, the company that produces Roblox, but you definitely want to make sure that there's some type of safeguards in place as well as the parents, You want to make sure that you are monitoring the things that your kids are doing because, these type of things can happen. So, this is a situation to where, he was caught, but you just think of all the situations to where people get away with it and they're never caught. And not trying to judge a book by its cover, but this guy doesn't seem like he would, really be popular with, the ladies or anything like that. And I mean, if you're putting yourself at risk to go get, teens or kids that are younger than you, going to pick them up and ain't no telling, what your plans were with these teens. It says a lot about you, and you just gotta be careful out here, parents. You gotta monitor your kids. That you want to give them some type of freedom and let them have some type of independence. But these days it's increasingly dangerous even to just do that. You have to be on top of stuff like this. And you have to talk to your teens, let them know, hey, if you do encounter someone and they're starting to talk a certain type of way, or they're starting to do certain type of things, it's best that you back out and leave. Don't friend them, block them, and things like that, because you do have the ability to block people and mute them and things like that when you're on these interactive games, to where again you'll be put into a lobby with any and everybody all across the world. This guy was 22 hours away from the two individuals that he went and picked up. So just definitely an eye-opening story, and just lets hey, if Fortnite, Call of Duty, all these type of games.
Sheriff said he believes they prevented something disastrous.
Again, we're dealing with a grown man that drove all the way from another state, an individual they never met in person, picked them up, and we really don't know what he was going to do.
Finally, the sheriff emphasized to parents the importance of monitoring the online apps their children use.
There is no application online that's safe. If you can communicate with somebody away from your house in the quiet of your own room, it could be a problem. So parents have to be vigilant. In this case, they were vigilant.
The suspect, who remains in custody in Georgia, faces 4 charges, 2 counts of kidnapping and 2 counts of interference with the custody of a minor. From Indiantown, I'm Adrian Criscott, NBC6 News.
Adrian.
So four counts, and let's get a statement here from Roblox.
Talk to your kids. NBC, we reached out to Roblox, and they've said in part, quote, "We are investigating this deeply troubling incident and will fully support law enforcement." Roblox has robust safety policies to protect users that go beyond many other platforms, and advanced safety guards that monitor for harmful content and communication. While no system is perfect, our commitment to safety never ends, and we continue to strengthen protections to keep users safe.
So, Roblox is saying they do have safety measures in place and things like that to monitor communications between the users of their game. And yeah, man, this just it's good that they was able to save these 2 girls. These 2 girls, of course, young and naive, not knowing what they could have gotten themselves into, the type of danger they could have been in. And parents have to be vigilant. At the end of the day, it's on the parents to really be vigilant in this thing, and they were, and their daughters was able to be returned to them. But hopefully they learn a lesson from this, and hopefully if any other parents are looking at this, you also are going to be very vigilant in monitoring the type of interactions and the type of apps and things like that your teens and your kids are playing and interacting with. Again, if you like my content, just make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. This is Justin Paul. Peace.